Good set of numbers.
Yeah, I think
good?
so. I think it's solid across the board, right? Top and bottom line beats. There are a lot of bright spots. I think the core business has returned to growth, and importantly, the number which the investment community looked at is the CMR, or the customer management revenue, and that's up 10%. That's been on a decline for the past 4 quarters, so and that's really the core domestic advertising and commission business. So that's a positive. I think the international business growth, 60% for international retail, that's a really bright spot, which I think is unexpected. There's some uncertainties as well. We've noticed that margins for the core business has declined a little bit. They're spending more to acquire users. The cloud business growth, 4%, is not that great. And I think a lot of people forget that there is also the low base effect. The second quarter last year was when Shanghai locked down. Yeah. And moving into the third quarter, we're not going to see the same kind of growth rates that we've seen this time around.
On the margin issue, do you think that that continues? Does competition continue to squeeze that?
So Trudy was talking about, Trudy, the head of Taobao and Tmall, was talking about a 3-year plan to invest. And that investment starts with user growth, followed by merchant growth, and then the revenues will follow.
Okay, so translate that into a simple language for us. Does that mean 3 years of margin squeeze?
She's going to spend more money to acquire users. And I think the strategy is correct, because for a platform, an e-commerce platform, a growth company, it's more important to see that user growth and top-line growth than to see a strong margin. So the markets will like it.
Vey-Sern, there was some comments about AI as well. You know, Alibaba saying they haven't been able to fulfill some of the demands for AI training from clients because of these global supply constraints. I mean, where is Alibaba in this whole AI race now?
I think the AI race is really early. It's at an early stage. But if you had to pick the companies that you think can succeed, then these will be companies with the resources, the technical abilities, with cloud expertise, and companies which are large enough to procure the chips and to invest. So I think Alibaba would be a front runner eventually, and with its cloud business, which it has been developing for a long time, it can potentially reap the rewards from the AI investment by hosting large language models for smaller companies, for them to access through cloud services. We haven't seen the financial impact yet. We probably will not see that very soon, but it's something more of a longer-term driver.
And the fact that there was no news on the restructuring, how do you read into that?
I think no news is good news. They just updated us in April about the spin-offs. As far as I know, they are all still on track. The cloud business is going to be fully spinned off and distributed to shareholders. The China business is going to IPO, and the Freshippo business is on track for an IPO. I think that's more or less going according to plan if they are not updating it. And I think the reason why nobody really asked that question last night is because a lot of these sell-side analysts are on investment banks who may be looking for that business as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, correct. Okay, that's a conversation we can have behind closed doors, I guess. Okay, so as we look ahead to that restructuring, right, and we still don't know which unit lists when. Right now, what's the gem there?
The gem. If they're going to put the current soon-to-be ex-CEO to head up the cloud business, I think the gem really is the cloud business. And in terms of valuations, it's probably amongst the three. The cloud, the China, and the Freshippo is probably going to command the highest. And interestingly, that business, they're actually going to distribute it out to shareholders completely. So Alibaba Holding Company will no longer have any interest in that business, and investors will get that as Ali Cloud shares.